My project's called Understanding Relationship and Gender Equality. Our project had basically three main goals. One, we wanted to raise awareness around these possible resources, around these hotlines, around the organizations that victims of abuse could reach out to in Alberta, particularly victims of gender-based violence. The other thing we wanted to do is kind of drive the conversation around gender equality among youth, 20 to 30-year-olds, basically university age. And the last thing is that we wanted to kind of work with different organizations here, different nonprofits or different community centers here to kind of basically give them the right resources that they can give to their own members to help drive that conversation around gender equality. And so ultimately we were able to kind of reach out to the different student groups here in Alberta, different student-run organizations. We reached out to 13 different student groups across different universities here in Alberta to help share these resources to their own members, and they themselves kind of helped share those resources from HCWS and our own toolkit as well to their own members, and they were able to help drive that conversation around gender equality amongst their student members. The other thing that we did was kind of reach out to the established nonprofits here in Edmonton and to some of the different groups here, like Edmonton Next Gen. And so they were able to kind of share ACWS's toolkit for gender equality to their own members. And ultimately, I think we were able to reach out to 5 main Edmonton organizations here. And the other thing was we also reached out to different women's shelters here in Edmonton so that they could kind of share our resource for them. Just because I think one of the biggest things that we found as well was, a lot of times these the people who do have to kind of reach out to women's shelters, who do have to turn to them for support, are often victims of gender-based violence themselves. One of the things I got to learn from the program was, how to sort of really drive change with people on the ground, with volunteers, or even in a business setting. How can you have a business with a social purpose? And so I think I really got to meet some really interesting people who are doing it, not just in gender equality, but around, let's say, disability, around poverty, around other women's issues. And so I think it really kind of gave me a good perspective about all the different ways you can drive real social change. You can actually make the conversation happen among the right circles, whether in government or whether in nonprofits, whether in think tanks, without necessarily resorting it to a traditional, I guess you could say, awareness campaign.